All right, guys, this is Norval Central coming back at you with another YouTube video. And at this time of the recording, I have about 2,140 subscribers. So if you could be sure to subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get out as much FSU content as we can. And like I said before in my previous video, we had a loaded official visitor weekend filled with 14 official visitors that came in on campus. 5 of those were committed, and there was 9 that were uncommitted. At this time, I do think Florida State is generating a lot of moves. A lot of the discussion that's come through with Florida State fans is basically they realize, okay, Florida has done a really, really nice job in the class so far. They're up to number 3 in the rankings. Florida State's down at number 19 and has not gotten a commit since April 17th, whenever Landon Thomas flipped his commitment from Georgia to Florida State. So, what does that mean for Florida State? Can they be able to generate some kind of momentum? A lot of people are saying, well, they'll get there eventually. And I know a lot of fans are impatient in terms of that. But I do think that Florida State is going to get some good news pretty soon. I don't want to sugarcoat anything or make anything seem kind of illogical at this point, but you do have to think about this. On July 4th, you have Kylan Fox, a 4-star tight end at Grayson High School, that's going to be deciding most likely between Florida State and UCF. Florida State feels really good where they are. Florida State also got the last official visit with his services as well. Then you look at a guy like Elijah Moore from Maryland. This is a kid that Florida State's really liked for quite some time, was a second ever offer that he had. Ohio State's been involved for quite some time as well. And during the exit meetings with some of the media members, he'd actually talked about that the July 4th is going to be his date that he's going to be setting. It's going to be between them and Ohio State. And at this point, I think Florida State is in a really, really good position. Most notably, he had actually gotten 3 crystal ball predictions to Florida State in the last hour or so. So this is going to be a good recruitment for Florida State so far if they're able to get him. And then you also got a guy like James Madison, who ironically is deciding on July 4th with the presidential name. It does kind of bring upon a little bit of laughter there, but I do think that James Madison and also Elijah Moore are takes for this program as of right now. Both of those guys are 6'3", 6'4" receivers. And Florida State does not have a receiver that's over 6 foot. You got a guy like CJ Abrams who's kind of wavering his commitment so far. He has been solid as of right now. We'll kind of see how that plays out. Will Texas A&M or will Florida get involved there? We'll kind of see. Wayne McCoy is also another guy from the Miami area that you're kind of figuring out, will he go to Miami at this point? Florida State's also got a guy like JoJo Trader, who they're very involved with. Cameron Coleman. There's a lot of guys out there that Florida State's going after in the receiver position. So even though they only have 4 commits, they're not going to sit back and wait for some of these recruitments to unravel and then fall on their face later on in the recruitment cycle. They're not putting their eggs all in one basket. They're actually being able to be productive, expanding that board and making sure that everything is taken care of. You got a guy like Makai Danzy, also from the Tallahassee area, who said that Florida State is his number 1 school. And this is a kid from the Tallahassee area where Florida State really hasn't done particularly well in that area, keeping homegrown talent in home. So it's definitely something to factor in there. They really like him next to Cam Davis. Then you also got a guy like Jonathan Daniels, a 4-star and also a 5-star offensive tackle on 3. The ratings kind of vary between in some of these recruiting cycles, but I do think overall that he is a 4-star prospect. Florida State really likes him. As it kind of turns out with some of the offensive tackle prospects like a TT and also with Zandamela as an interior offensive lineman, they both went to USC. So now Florida State's having to kind of transfer itself over, get all of its attention on Daniels at this point. I think Daniels could be able to be a Knoll. He hasn't really set a decision date, so we'll kind of see how that factors into everything. But I do think that that's going to be a good recruitment that Florida State can play into on that. But, there's a lot of good things that Florida State's doing so far, like Jalewis Solomon, for example. This is a kid that came into the Florida State visit. South Carolina, I thought, was really involved with this recruitment. Auburn. There's a lot of different schools that can get into. Being from the Georgia area like that, Florida State's getting a lot of those Georgia and Florida kids on campus. And Lewis brought in his brother, the 25 5-star linebacker that I think Florida State's going to be in for it with Zayden Walker. And I think this could be a opportunity for Florida State to take advantage and get his commitment and then also get his younger brother's commitment as well. That could be massive for Florida State in terms of just momentum in general. He hasn't really set a date just yet. It may be closer to the summer, but I know it will be before the end of before his senior season starts. And I think that could be a really good get for Florida State because then you got Lester, you got Ricky Knight, you got Kevin Leary, and then you also got Jalewis Solomon as well. I think those can be 4 guys that you can turn to. You got Jerry Jones and Renardo Green that's going to be out after this season because they are redshirt seniors. What happens to Ventrell Cypress if he's able to perform well as well? So I mean, that's 3 guys right there. But I do think Florida State's trending in a very, very good position. I would not fret as of right now because a lot of those fans in 2021, when Florida State was doing really well in June, next thing you know, Florida State didn't really perform well on the field, and then they lost a lot of these commitments. Will Florida do the same? It's just kind of having to see out and see what's going to happen. I do think Florida's going to stick with some of their guys, but just overall, I think Florida State is going to do a really good job. They're going to be able to be a 10, 11, maybe even 12-win team this upcoming season, and I think you're going to see kind of the fruits of their labor and recruiting kind of pan out as they want it to. But I really appreciate all the love and support as always. And be sure to hit the like button before you leave. I really appreciate it. And always, go Noles.